Fraser, I mean, looking at it from almost an external perspective,
Sure.
Have you seen organisations bumping into this issue?
Well, I think it's similar to what happened when e-commerce started to take off. There'll be winners and losers. And basically, people were resistant at first, and after a while realised there wasn't really an option. And I think we're in that position. You have to view it as part of your multi-channel retail strategy. And if you're deciding that you're going to try and oppose m-commerce, then somebody else will come along who does a much better job of it, and they'll take away your lunch. So, you have to get past internal politics, and it has to be viewed as part of your strategy as a multi-channel retailer. So I don't really think there's a choice.
How are you going about integrating the two multiple sets of customer data you're getting now as they move around that whole multi-channel environment?
I think it's quite complex. One of the first things we did when we set up our SMS broadcast is we made sure that was completely integrated so we could learn more about customers. So when they opted in to receive SMS, we could then upscale from our loyalty customers to other customers. So actually at M&S, luckily, we started as we meant to continue, knowing back in 2007 that mobile was going to be really big, and if we didn't integrate, we'd die. So I think it's more of a challenge because mobile shopping is not really that distinguished from web shopping. So for us, when our most recent purchase of a customer buying a kitchen on mobile, that's where the sale ends, but we know that that's not necessarily where the sale starts. It usually starts with our catalogue, and then it moves on to the web, where people use baskets and reviews. They use baskets as calculators and reviews for guidelines, and they use large imagery. And they might move on to their iPad, and then finally make the sale in a store on mobile, because that's where they can slam the doors and open and shut the drawers. So yes, that's the last click. But following that entire journey is a challenge, and I don't think anyone's cracked it, and we don't necessarily have the tools to do so.
I tend to agree. I think the experience at Aurora has been similar to Sien in that the investment over the past 18, 24 months has been in the central infrastructure to allow that cross-channel consumer understanding. So a central CRM database being at the core. But now I think the next challenge is how you use that information to understand the customer journey, to understand how the customer is interacting across multiple channels, and importantly, how to drive those business decisions back into the organisation on the basis of what the consumer is doing across those channels. But it is a very challenging area to analyse correctly. Yeah.
Sien made the point about not having the tools to bring all of the data together as the customer moves between the various channels. Are you seeing those tools emerging, or is this just going to be a fact we're going to have to learn to live with?
No, so I think when you're looking at mobile strategy, then you need to think about the approach you're going to take with the technology. And there's two main components about it. One is how you integrate it into your existing systems. So, for example, if you're building a mobile site, trying to link it in as deeply as you can into your core systems, your ERP and your OMS, so you've got a consistent set of information, and then any other systems reading off that can use it. The second is the approach you take to build your mobile site, and I'll talk more about that this afternoon, but whether you go for a platform approach, a proxy approach, or an API approach, makes a big difference, because then you can have an independent site, or you can have something that's integrated into e-commerce, or you have something that just displays it. So there are a lot of technical considerations to make. The solutions are there already. The problem we've all got is that most people are still not that advanced, and a lot of people have put a toe in the water and may have gone down a route which is not allowing them to fully exploit it. But certainly the technology is there to do it already.
Okay. Any questions from you at this stage? Yes, we've got one just here. We've got a... Yes.
Just about Wi-Fi. It was brought up earlier, in-store Wi-Fi, and how many people are actually using it, or how many retailers are putting it in and looking at the analytics behind that. What has been the panel's experience with that?
Andy, do you want to start?
Yeah, start that. Obviously, Retail Assist works with a number of customers, but one customer in particular is starting to embark on the use of Wi-Fi. It's very much in its early stages, but I think the customer that I'm talking about is considering Wi-Fi as a core requirement for ongoing infrastructure within their store environment. And that is absolutely about supporting the multiple channels that the consumer wishes to trade in. And it's also about increasing the agility of the store team as well. So the ability of them to service the customer with, we've talked about things like visual merchandise guidelines in the store. It's about assisting the customer to make the sale. So in terms of analysis of how successful that is at this stage, that's very much in its infancy, but the retailers we're working with do deem it to be part of their core infrastructure investment moving forward.
Okay. Something else that came up in Gavin Merriman's presentation was this idea of once you get the customer on board with mobile, it then becomes their weapon of choice, as it were. But it's getting them on board in the first place that's the challenge. So have you got any initiatives in place within your organisations, or have you seen any out there that look interesting for getting people to take the plunge and get connected with mobile? Sian, let's start with you.
I think the key challenge is really just telling your customers about mobile, so using all of your other channels to do so. And you'll see from M&S, beyond SMS, which is, I think, still an absolutely fantastic technology, we embed .mobi links within our SMSs, and that's the simplest thing you can do. QR codes, Facebook, Twitter, these are all tools we have at our, to use for our customer benefit, and our customers are using them, so it doesn't really take building yet more complex interactions with our customers. So just telling your customers that you have a mobile site, and certainly on Google, optimizing your Google search, and within the text of your paid for ads, tell customers that your site is mobile optimized, because many customers are used to that negative experience and won't click through. So the simple things that you can do today, you should be doing.
Fraser?
Yeah, so it's astonishing. There's some interesting stats about the number of people that have a mobile optimized site. And we actually went and did some research, so got a couple of guys to go on and try and go into as many sites as they could and see which were mobile optimized. And it was a very small figure. So the easiest way is to obviously have a mobile optimized site and make sure that when people come in to use your normal site, they're redirected to it. From an advertising standpoint, then you just need to be telling people, particularly in the right demographic, because we know who the majority of mobile phone users are, and I'll talk about that later, who use it to access the internet. And that demographic in particular, will find this a very attractive way to buy from you. So use your normal advertising methods, such as emails, but make sure you are highlighting that you do now have an optimized site, which at the moment will put you in a small group of people. And make sure, in particular, you're targeting it at the people who are going to respond to that and more likely to use it, and potentially attracting new clients in doing so.
Okay. And what have you done at Harrods? Because I'm quite interested in, a lot of the people that walk through your doors. Well, it'll be a destination as part of a trip to London as opposed to a regular shopper. How are you connecting with them and getting them to get on?
We have a very strong social media program. So as soon as everything was launched, we really aggressively pushed it through Twitter and Facebook. We're doing some interesting stuff coming up a little bit later in the year where Chinese market's going to be is fairly massive for us. So we're looking at doing translated versions of our app, starting off with Chinese, and actively promoting those in China to try and generate a new customer base for us in growing numbers.
Interesting. Helen, how have you gone about promoting getting your customers mobile?
Well, I actually think it's more about awareness than anything else. I'm not trying to force them onto mobile. I'm trying to give them the opportunity to use it if they want to. So it's kind of got a parity with every other channel. We also have quite a good social media program, so people tend to pick it up from there, and it is a case of redirecting as they go to the .com, website, etc. So it's much more for me, as I say, because I want it to be a seamless experience. It's allowing people, it's giving them the information to allow them to choose how they want to interact. So it's awareness.
So again, a very strong theme building of just tell them. Would you agree with that?
For me personally, it's the technology behind the scenes which is my area of expertise, rather than actually how the channels are being promoted within the organisation. But it's, as Helen said, it's about giving the customer choice.
Okay. I've got one final question before I fire that at the panel. Is there anything any of you would like to ask? Yes, down the front here.
So we have talked a lot about mobile applications. I was wondering, what's the retailer's view of NFC mobile contactless payments? So right now there is a £15 limit, potentially raised to £25, but I guess some of the retailers here may have a lot of transactions below the 15 or 25 pound threshold. So what's the retailer's view? In particular, I will focus on Waterstone, Marks & Spencer for mobile contactless payments.
Are you speaking specifically via mobile or contactless in general?
I'm talking mobile, contactless mobile.
I think the will is there. M&S is going to be rolling out contactless payment terminals across stores. However, from a mobile perspective, I think it's really consumer adoption, handset adoption, industry standards, making sure safety and security concerns have been addressed rather than actually the threshold itself. So for us, absolutely, our food business, in Simply Food and Food to Go, is very much within that target. But I think we will need to wait at least 18 months for full customer adoption, for people to be comfortable, for the industry standards to have gotten to where they need to be, and for security concerns, very real security concerns, to have been addressed. But it's absolutely something, if our customers are going to be using it, then it's something that we would want to and need to address.
Hello?
It's obviously coming, it's something we need to be aware of and something we need to be prepared for, but it's not something we're going to sort of force upon customers. It's when they become aware and comfortable, then we will have it available for them.
What sort of proportion of your sales would be below that £25 or below a £15 threshold? I would have thought was...
So the £15 threshold is a bit low.
Yeah.
Although most of the year that's probably okay, but obviously the time you want to do queue busting is a peak, and then obviously the ATV goes up way above £15, so it's a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one final question to all of you, and very briefly, just looking forward, what mobile technologies, or what technologies do you see appearing in the next year, 2 years? Bear in mind, in mobile terms, that's many years. What do you see coming forward that interests you and excites you? Let's start with you, Andy.
I think, for me personally, I think it's about bringing retailers' product files onto the internet and allowing customers to dynamically source product as they wander down the high street. And it's about amalgamating technologies, so solutions like Layer, where we can get augmented reality of product accessible via the mobile. And once retailers start to publish their product files onto the internet, it's about being able to do that real-time research of what product is available on the high street. I think that's going to be particularly exciting.
Okay. Sia?
I really am behind you on optical recognition, and whether it's augmented reality or other forms of search. But for me, I think the thing that's most interesting is local and social. So as customers' propensity to shop on the go and to look for local offers and local stock availability, bringing those together in a way that makes sense to the customer, that gives them the rich information that they can share with their friends, is really powerful for us.
Okay. Fraser?
Yeah, I think it's about getting the speed of the mobile experience up, that when we can actually get it as a very fast way of accessing the e-commerce site, then that combined with the convenience will mean it will be a very, very effective way of people dealing with it. So got to concentrate on the way we handle search, the way we display pages, and also hope that we get increases in the pace of the technology, the handsets become much more functional, and that combined with stronger changes in the telecoms mean that actually it becomes a really, really effective way of doing e-commerce.
James?
I think for me, it's user-generated content. That's the ultimate goal for us. Make customers brand advocates, and if they can possibly wax lyrical about our products or our services, that's just perfect for me.
Excellent. Finally, Helen.
Yeah, I think it's just more of the same in a way, but better. So for me, it's things like geo-targeting, more seamless integration with shops and shop systems, data files, catalogues, etc., stock on hands, personalisation, and then allowing customers to actually share what they found.
Okay, that's brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Please thank your panel.